people are concerned about education. Should they go to uni? Should they try to do it themselves? And it's heavily dependent on the person, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Older me was very anti-university, but I still felt like, well, for certain personalities, having that consistency or the expectation of you to accountability, I guess, to show up, it's structure for them. So I think, that and also getting to meet people were two really big benefits. But the way I really feel personally is that the real experience, the real knowledge you'll get is on the job and the people that you're around as well to learn from. So the longer you're at school, the longer you're delaying ever really getting started. So, especially these days with so much information free and, paid online, I think that for a lot of us, we can just get going as soon as possible. And once you get your foot in the door, I feel like the first few weeks are going to be worth the first few years, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the thing, my problem with the educations, especially when it comes to any sort of graphics, even web design or whatever, it's really clumsy, if you know what I mean. Technology evolves like crazy fast. And education, it's like the government, it can't keep up. My business partner tells me, oh, look at that guy, he's just graduated. I don't bloody care, because let his showreel speak for him.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean necessarily that these are bad artists, but it's just, I think it's time not the most efficiently spent. People like yourself and other amazing true artists from a true industry, if you want that practical, real knowledge, just go and grab it. It's free. I gave a speech on Andrew Kramer's Video Copilot Europe tour a couple of years ago.
Right.
That was my topic, to try to inspire people to realize that everything is there for free. You just need to type in the questions and get your answers.
That's right. Yeah, I think in some ways, like, there's too much information out there, and that's kind of like the tricky thing, is finding the right, avenues to go down. But you're right, like, everything's there these days, and that's something that I don't think either of us really had, getting into any of this. Like, I still get jealous that people are learning 3D in high school, because, it took me years to be able to finally be able to explain to people what I do, just because there was, when Toy Story came out, I could finally point and be like, yeah, that kind of stuff. Just because no one really knew what that thing was. It is such a critical topic, what you're talking about, like coming from nothing, and also, people having the expectation that, like, everything's handed to you, on a silver spoon. There's a lot of misconceptions about that, and I think that, a lot of us, it is about, paving the way yourself rather than relying on other people. And the more that you give people permission, or expect people to do everything for you, the less you're going to be, tough enough to kind of really make it later on. So for you, what was it like, even just building your portfolio as well? Because again, like, as you mentioned, it really comes down to your portfolio, your demo reel, like, more than anything. And I see people spending like a year on their reel when, if you're really desperate, if you're really focused, you could make a demo reel in a week or two, enough to be able to get that first job. Obviously, we all go through, rejection, and it's easier said than done with getting a reel that's going to land you the job. But, like, giving yourself those condensed timelines of, okay, 2 weeks to make my first reel, and then at least I can put it out there, see what happens, and tweak it if I need to from there. Like, what are your thoughts on, the key essentials to, like, really making it and getting out there? And, like, what advice would you give to people who are, trying to get their first job?
The reel, as it stands, everyone wants it fancy, yeah, but if you're desperate to land a job, it's not only that video file, all right? And especially you have an interview where you meet face to face to your whatever future line manager or whoever. You can present it. It can be stills, it can be breakdowns, it can be your process explanation, because whatever you do, you're in 3D. It's complicated already. Just present, explain that you understand the topic, you know how to deliver. If there are shots that are not fully rendered, explain why. Because here's the thing, like photography, web design, those are cheap kind of industries. Cheap in terms of your expenses for them, right? VFX and cinematography is the most expensive industry in the world. You know, you can, there is no limit how much you can spend on the gear, cameras, everything. It's the most expensive. So when you're starting out and you're referencing like the top agencies as your level for the reel, it's not gonna happen. These guys, they have like millions invested in machines that are rendering, or it's rendered on render farms, whatever. So be clever, and presentation is the most important thing. That's what I did. So I sat down with that MacBook. I rendered like a reel that is something like 40 seconds, like some short pieces, no meaning behind them, just the shots where something is animated. And then I had a lot of stills from my photography background with some 3D on top, and I explained like, listen, I can do that type of stuff, that type of content. We can do this here, that, using that, and they were like, hey, yeah, that can really expand our service list, which was cool.
I like that. It's kind of cool because, again, I think that for live action, it's really important being able to demonstrate that you can integrate live action and CG together, but also you have a good understanding of the process. And even looking at Photoshop stills, something like that, like, it's context. So I think that that's enough to kind of show like this person's got a lot of potential. But also when you are able to go to a studio that maybe you've got some skills that are outside of what they typically offer, then at that point you're adding to the studio, you're contributing additional services. So I think it's really cool because, yeah, if they are doing something kind of different and you come in with a background, let's say in VR, and you're applying at a film studio, then suddenly for some boutique places that they might be able to start offering VR services or something kind of different. So that's really cool, being able to kind of figure out like what you have that maybe they don't have and be able to lean into that too.
It's also a tough thing to choose what exactly you want to do, because CG, 3D, whatever, it's so broad.